Naam, karibu tena katika makala ya The Football Slip. Tuangalie kwa haraka tu sekunde za kuhesabu mechi 10 ambazo tumezichagua wiki hii. Shabana dhidi ya Nairobi City Stars, Tusker dhidi ya Bandari, Newcastle dhidi ya Arsenal, Liverpool dhidi ya Brighton, Spurs dhidi ya Aston Villa, Manchester United nyumbani Old Trafford dhidi ya Chelsea, Dortmund dhidi ya RB Leipzig Ujerumani, Napoli dhidi ya Atalanta, Serie A Sevilla dhidi ya Real Sociedad Hispania na Atletico de Bilbao dhidi ya Real Betis kule Uhispania. Tuangalie kwa haraka my choice, my slip. This is how I feel like he Mbona unacheka?
Mna shida.
Correct, you know, haven't even asked your opinion on this.
I've just looked at it, hata sijasema kitu.
Utarudi kwa mlima. Stay more to make up my slip. Na kajis.
Hapa Juma umecheza vizuri.
Si ndio?
Yeah, umecheza vizuri. Labda yenye inaweza kuangusha hiyo Newcastle Arsenal. Unajua Newcastle on paper they look very strong, but kwa ground in the last 5 matches or so they have been struggling, so inaweza kuwa slim goals. Alafu pia Arsenal unajua saizi hajakuwa akifunga mabao sana. So hiyo mechi inaweza kusumbua kidogo.
Okay.
Alafu hapo Manchester Chelsea yatafungwa. Hizo ni mbona ziko sawa.
Kale kibet.
Bwana hujajiaminia United na Chelsea over 2. Hata over 3 itaingia.
Over 3
itaingia vizuri.
Actually, niko after the rude awakening, ningata kupata Manchester United alafu niko na yani Otachi I think they'll badilishia, but I wanted to give one.
One ingekuwa ngumu juu vile Chelsea wamepoteza. So
wanakuwa
haimna shida.
Old
Trafford squeeze kila mtu anaweza pita.
Not bro.
Kila mtu.
We're not talking about Eric Hugs.
Trafford sio ngome yenye tuko najua.
Bado.
Alafu ile ya Napoli na Atalanta uko sawa. Hapo kwa Atletico Bilbao na Real Betis na yogopa sana, especially Atletico Bilbao wakiwa nyumbani.
Kama tusungoka kwa magapi?
Inaweza isha hata 2 ama 3-2 in favor of Atletico Bilbao. Nimeogopa hiyo.
Anyway, this is my slip.
Alafu hata pia Nairobi City Stars na Shabana.
Shabana wako vizuri.
Shabana wako vizuri bwana.
Gusi is a first place. Si rahisi.
Ni pale umetoka sare juzi.
Shabana
si rahisi.
They have their home fans. Ai karaoke bwana, hebu take it. First gateway at home.
Sasa hiyo ni slip ya mtu ambaye anajaribu kutafuta namna ya kustabilize.
Kustabilize.
Sasa angalia slip ya mtu ambaye anatafuta pesa.
The last time we were here, I walked out kwa stay kuambukizwa matokeo mbaya.
So you're walking out.
Ai, sasa unaniambia nini bwana?
Wacha tuangalie slip yangu kwa haraka kwa sababu nani ya Malanda anasema nitulie hapa niache kutembea. Nimemsikia Hassan akisema kwamba kuna mmoja aliambiwa na director Deno nikasikia amesema acha kujitetea na mimi kwa sababu anajua matokeo. Slip yangu inakaa namna gani Caleb Kibeta? Nimesikia umezungumzia Shabana City. Nimeenda na Shabana ama draw. Nimeona City Nairobi City wamempiga Gor Mahia juzi.
I'm very worried. Ikizingatiwa wamekuwa na mwamko mpya Nairobi City Stars dhidi ya Gor Youth. Unajua nimeangalia hiyo na shida na hiyo, alafu Arsenal Newcastle hiyo itaingia vizuri. Liverpool Brighton over pia itaingiana vizuri sana. Shida kubwa ni hapa kwa Liverpool Brighton. Umechagua vizuri lakini hiyo mechi ni kubwa sana. Nadhani kwamba karibu ifikie viwango vya United na Chelsea, lakini bado Sevilla Real Sociedad hiyo pia
nimesema Sevilla ama draw pale
inaweza kuwa sare, lakini hapo kwa Sevilla ni uongo.
Wewe unasema hapa ni pesa tu?
Sina uhakika. Sina uhakika.
Habari inaweza ikanunua maji. Sina slip nyingine hata uweze ukapata kitu ya kununua mboga. Hii iko vipi?
Karibu kaufanyi vibaya lakini
nakupatia naona ni kama wananibia hata.
Nakupatia challenge. Ukipata 8 angalau 8 baada ya show ijayo tuko vizuri. Kwa hivyo jikakamue kabisa.
Haiko vipi basi?
Ya kulingana na prediction yako ziko mbaya, angalau
ni game gani unaona labda nimekuwa very ambitious? Unajua nikiangalia nimeona kwa mfano Newcastle Arsenal, nimesikia umesema Newcastle hawajakuwa kifunga, but definitely it's a big game because Arsenal has had several draws and will be seeking to try and continue having more points at least to catch up with City.
It's a big game to Aston because they must win. They can't afford to lose this game because knowing that exactly if they don't lose, they'll go, I think, 8 points behind City, and that will be a big blow for them heading to the fair, busy Christmas fixture. But looking at Dortmund at Leipzig, I think Leipzig can continue putting more woes on Dortmund because Dortmund have lost the last 3 matches or so.
Before tuende kwa ule jamaa wa play safe, Real Betis last weekend, I think, is one of the team that really did well, and I think is one of the game that I lost, and I got 6. They're facing Atletico Bilbao. I've decided to go with either of the teams.
On form, Inaki brothers, they can just terrorize any day, anytime, and here I know goals will be there. And based on maybe your prediction, I think I will put my money mostly on the Bilbao because the home advantage also comes into call.
So umesema 8 out of 10.
At least I'm just praying because
Caleb,
haujafika hapo. Yeah,
Caleb, out of 10. Ukiangalia
nimetoa ya Nairobi City Stars, ya Atletico Bilbao, Sevilla 7.
Sikia
improve na moja.
Anarudi chini. Nani? Anaitwa nani huyu jamaa wa lonely at the top? Robbie. You play safe. You play safe. Today how have you played?
Hey, you know when your friends are rating you that lowly and that is on paper. Imagine now in reality. Itakuaje. But either way, let's quickly run through my sleep. Shabana versus Nairobi City. I've taken Shabana or a draw, having in mind this will be their first game. The first game they were supposed to play did not materialize, so this will be their first game at the Gusii Stadium. Tusker versus Bandari. Hopefully Tusker will recover. They get a draw. Newcastle versus Arsenal. It's a game that is going to have goals. Liverpool versus Brighton. Also definitely a game that is going to have goals. Spurs versus Aston Villa, that you are guaranteed there will be goals. United versus Chelsea, again a guarantee there will be goals. Dortmund versus Leipzig, I see more than 2 goals in that, having in mind that Leipzig is a high-scoring team at the moment, while Dortmund is conceding a lot. And then Napoli versus Atalanta, it's either Napoli draw or a Napoli win or a draw. Sevilla versus Real Sociedad or a draw. And then Bilbao versus Real Betis, I see a Bilbao win or a draw. Now, Cedric, after running through that one, because there are games that I've said that they will be having goals, let's begin with Newcastle versus Arsenal. Remember what happened to Arsenal last season when they played Newcastle. There is that goal that Newcastle scored that the ball went over the edge of the line, but they said, you know, some centimeters was still on, on the line, so it was still in play, and Newcastle scored. And now Arsenal have, a chance to revenge at, St. James Park.
See, it's a game that will be piling a lot of pressure to Arsenal. Remember, Arsenal in this EPL or the current season, they're not necessarily playing to win, but they're focused on the trophy itself. Remember, they have been actually missing out by certain quite essence of an inch twice in a row. And this is the 3rd time that they will be trying to chase. And remember also what has happened just to this team, particularly in the last 2-3 weeks. It's a team that has not actually been finding space with a lot of controversy going around. That's according to the news written by their fans. And coming to this particular game, I think Newcastle will just have to enjoy its stability and its game, given today that is coming from winning at the of the week, regardless of the team that they were playing against. Vis-a-vis, if you try to compare and comparable to Arsenal, of course Arsenal played a team that actually rated the
Preston,
third tier, or maybe fourth tier, which is, and again, is just like kind of a warm-up match, build up towards this particular. But, and again, I may just add soon to repeat, if the likes of Saliba comes back, and maybe we necessarily doesn't know if Gabriel will find it space to come and pair with Saliba, Saliba will be finding a new pair in this particular, which, and again, you understand, even no matter how good you are, you introduce to somebody whom you are not actually used to. It brings different kind of permutation in that particular essence. That's an advantage that Newcastle can play now to the essence that Isak is back. And remember where he plays in? He plays in that space where the Saliba will be playing against the unknown. We don't know if it's Ben White will be really pairing with him. We doesn't know simply because Calafiori also is really on injury. But it's a game to put an eye heavily on Arsenal regarding to the essence that is a team that is chasing for this particular glory at the end of the season.
Yes, so Cedric, let's move to the big matches of the weekend. Let's begin with Spurs at the Tottenham Stadium. They will be taking on Aston Villa. It's also a big game. It's a game with lots of talking points. Having in mind that Spurs is fresh from beating Man City in the League Cup. And then Aston Villa is fresh from losing to Crystal Palace in the League Cup. What are your expectations in this fixture?
You know, when I actually try to walk through such kind of a game, it drives me away from the teams itself, and it gets me back to their managers.
Yes.
We are talking about Unai Emery.
Yes.
You see what he has been grinding years in, years out in the previous past years. Is that a guy who has won almost everything in the UEFA Nations?
Yes.
Coming back to EPL, maybe when he actually at Sevilla, he would torment these EPL teams, including your coveted, your favorite club, which is Manchester United. Not once, not twice. And it's a kind of a coach who knows, a manager, who knows actually how to grind points where necessary. Currently, we are seeing him in Aston Villa, and the wonders he's actually has brought in the kind of player that he used actually to have back then, the likes of Pau Torres, who has stabilized that particular centre-back. We go to the side of Spurs. Remember, here is Postecoglou, who has brought in a highline that is not giving them fruits. A highline that has made this team to start breathing hot and cold at some essence. Here they win convincingly, you are happy. Next week, they soak in goals. And at any given time, even if they happen to win, they necessarily doesn't go out of that particular game without conceding goals. So it's a team that invites goals into their backyard, regardless of how they play. So coming to face a team of Aston Villa, who has never lost a game in UEFA Champions, the current UEFA Champions League.
They are top of the league.
It really brings kind of cautiousness to the side of Tottenham. They need to be very quite alert in each and every time they are playing such kind of team, given to the essence of the result that they have.
Your prediction on this?
Aston Villa draw, Aston Villa win, or a draw.
Aston Villa to win or a draw. Now, gentlemen, on the other side, I know you're itching to talk about Manchester United versus Chelsea. So, let's begin. Kibet.
Yes.
Manchester United versus Chelsea. Now, I know, najua wewe ni msee wa Chelsea, but you are meeting a Manchester United that has performed very well under interim managers. Expectations zako ni zipi?
Kwanza nafikiri Man U wamefunga mabao yao yote ile game ya EFL Carabao. Number 1, number 2 ni kwamba ndio it's a good team. Chelsea is a good team, lakini number 1 ni kwamba mwamko wa timu ya United chini ya Ruud van Nistelrooy. Nimeona kama ile mechi dhidi ya Leicester City, mwamko mzuri, lakini itakuwa ni mechi ya kwanza, ni mechi ya hisia. There will be a lot of emotions. I expect some cards hapa na pale. Magoli yatakuwa mengi. Of course, it's very cold. I was wondering why it's very cold today. Kumbe Palma almost kucheza. So for me, a lot of goals also. Zaidi ya mabao matatu hivi, alafu ushindi finyu wa timu ya Chelsea.
Angalia.
It may be 2-1, 3-1.
Ushaiva jezi ya Man U?
Mimi kwa maisha yangu siwezi.
Sasa Manchester United ikishinda Chelsea weekend unavaa jezi ya Manchester United kwa hisho.
Hata nitavaa mpaka kofia, jezi, hata viatu mpaka red.
Manchester ndio?
Thank you.
I've taken note. I hope hizo comments umepeana nini kama analysis kama na feelings.
No, ushindi finyu. Kwa sababu angalia. Kwa Chelsea. No, I'm saying
at Old Trafford. By the way, it is possible, yes, for Chelsea kushinda mechi hiyo. Ni kweli kabisa. Lakini ukiangalia kuna historia pale Old Trafford na mechi kama 8 hivi. Nafikiria ushindi wa Chelsea umekuwa mmoja msimu uliopita, dakika za lala salama, dakika ya 97. Kwa hivyo kuna uwezekano mkubwa sana mechi hiyo ikaenda upande wa Chelsea, na pia kutokana na jinsi wanavyopiga matokeo yao, kulingana na jinsi wanavyocheza, kuna uwezekano mkubwa sana wakaweza wakashinda mechi hiyo kutokana na mchezo wao, kwa sababu Maresca amejaribu kuleta mfumo fulani ambao umeweza kumotivate sana wachezaji. Hata hivyo alisema vizuri sana Robbie the lonely man, akasema kwamba Manchester United ikifika interim managers, kuna jinsi ambavyo they perform very well. And of course with this news, yes, they'll have to perform well. And also looking at the game they played versus Leicester. Yes, Leicester might be not a very big team, but you cannot rule out
their former Premier League
champions. They won the the Premier League, but you cannot rule out Manchester United winning that game from the fact that there is a change, the change in the dressing room, and maybe a little bit change in terms of tactics.
Stemi, we watched Manchester United against Leicester City. You know, there's fluidity. The players were enjoying themselves. Bruno Fernandes, all of a sudden, there was a smile on his face. What do you make of this match? You know, Ruud van Nistelrooy, of course, will be in charge for Manchester United against, of course, Chelsea.
Footballers are one of the most unpredictable, I think, organic in this world, because, you know, they can ensure your job is sustained.
Because they fired the return.
They can fire you. They have done that to ATH, he's gone. And now the legend is here. The legend has played this game and you know exactly where to press and what to do so that he can get this right. And I'm happy they did it in style and gave me a 5-2 win over Leicester. But no, the biggest question is for these players to continue that momentum and ensure that indeed they can get a win in the league. Because as we speak, Amorim is actually handling Sporting right now. They're playing a league match in Portugal.
But I'm sure he'll be following this match.
After that, he'll be following these matches because by the time it comes to United, we will be already going for the international break. So this is the moment that we'll be trying to trail and see the type of players he wants to use in his system and everything related to United. Because I'm pretty sure a number of players will be thrown away, and it's up to them now to prove their moment. And based on the scenario that Ruud van is there, and he knows exactly that if indeed I get results against Chelsea, I'll have proved a point that I've played against Chelsea during my time and I beat them. Now this is a time for me to beat them as a coach.
Tell me, don't be cagey. I mean, give me a scoreline. Which team is going to win?
No, I can't give the direct scoreline, but
of course,
a number of goals. There will be more than 3 goals because both sides have.
Where are you putting your money? Is it going to be a draw? One of them is going to win, right? Okay,
let me give United, because Caleb Bia is actually trying to prove that indeed Chelsea can continue making the Reds turn blue.
Nani amekasirika? Nani anataka kuzimia mic the director.
Sorry.
We talk about United having new coaches each season. Kuna kitu Ralf Rangnick, yule coach wa Austria sasa hivi, alisema United need an open heart side.
Ndio maana nani
tunaanza. Yani United inafaa tu kuanza upya. Umeona venye Chelsea iliosha wachezaji ambao walishinda kombe la Champions League 2021. Hivyo ndio United inafaa kuosha.
Actually, I concur with what Caleb said, because what has transpired at United for the last 6 seasons or so is just unfathomable. I think this thing that doesn't need to appear at United, because looking at the players that are at United right now, trust you me not, it's going to take a lot of effort from the coach coming to win them, because it will be easy if he gets maybe the first 2 wins or so. After that, his philosophy will go down into the player. But if he loses that game, it will be a long season for Amorim.
We may start seeing another part ingine ya Amorim kwa Ten Hag.
But guys, kabla hata Karis ongee, just briefly, kumekuwa na so many changes footballing wise. Nana na manage saizi sio the Glaziers, this Jim Ratcliffe, a lot of course top management CEO, and kumekuwa na so many changes. So
it is a transition. It actually happened at Arsenal, and you know it takes time. You'll be beaten, you'll be pushed to the wall, you'll get maybe criticism, but when you get it right, definitely results will be there for
I will
everyone to
go to
see.
the
And I think I tend to agree with Caleb and Rogers because there is a massive change at the management of Manchester United, and you can clearly see right now we can talk about football.
Despite the leaking roof.
Despite the leaking, actually that is part of the plans for the new management. And looking at how they have brought in players, they have been very fast. Unlike before when they could take time to bring on board players that a manager needed. Also, they have fired Erik ten Hag, but days, they already have a replacement. Who is this Sporting? And it shows you that they were looking forward, even before they fired Ten Hag, they were looking forward in the future of Manchester United, because you cannot tell me that Ten Hag was fired and then they started negotiations. Yeah, they started negotiations, meaning they had negotiations like a week or two before, and the management had traveled, the CEO, the technical director, and the Sporting, the other guy called who? Wilcox had already traveled there, and they were already in plan to bring in the new manager. So definitely it goes to show you that there was a plan for the future, and I think that will help Manchester United big time if they try to go to ensure that they give them the control.
Thing about Manchester is that at least now they can listen to their fans globally, because having already seen that they actually they ended their relationship with Alex Ferguson. Who knew that they would do such a thing? Actually, that's where the signs were already written the whole that indeed maybe somebody in the coaching scenario at United will also be sent home.
It's unfortunate that Erik ten Hag he had a contract extension, then fired some few weeks later. Robbie,
Amena pesa nyingi. Robbie, kama ni wewe ungeacha hiyo pesa.
Hiyo pesa ni mingi by the Robbie, hiyo pesa ni nyingi bwana. Unaweza acha Robbie? Hiyo pesa ni
Kariuki umeshika nini? So, gentlemen, Dennis, let's move on from Manchester United and Chelsea. Cedric, aside from this big fixture, there's one big fixture in Italy. Let's go back to the sleep that nobody's talking about. Napoli versus Atalanta. First versus third. Briefly, give us your expectations on this before I quickly run through the fixtures.
You know, what actually entices me when I'm following the Serie A game, I've been trying actually to follow Lukaku's footsteps. When Lukaku comes crossover to EPL, he's actually seen like a nobody. At some point, Chelsea did not actually literally wanted Lukaku. But you see how other coaches are utilizing him. Under Mourinho, we saw the wonders he did at on loan at Roma. Currently, he's actually being touted as one of the strongest, among the top 5 strongest strikers in the world. Just that's after Haaland. And literally, the results are being shown at Napoli under Conte. These are a kind of a coach who really insisted that you don't want this player, give him to me. And he literally wanted him regardless of whatever pricing that Chelsea would want. He did whatever thing that within his capability to ensure that Lukaku is in Napoli. And as we speak currently, Napoli has gone for 10 matches without a loss. 9 out of 10 are won. And it tells you a story of somebody who is disowned elsewhere, but here he's trying to find some kind of redefinition under certain coaches to bring in results. Currently, as we speak,
who's winning this?
Currently, as we speak, Robbie, before we go there, you might think that Napoli is a force given to the permutation that I've given it, but Atlantas are equally giving a run for their money.
Yes,
they are grinding
3 on the log,
and
19 points.
Exactly.
Yes.
They have produced a player who actually was really yearning for Ballon d'Or.
Yes. Yes.
And it tells you that this kind of a battle, if you don't have anything, anywhere to watch, you need actually to focus your eye on this particular battle.
Yes, Napoli versus Atalanta. So let's quickly run through the fixture that we have this weekend. Yes, we ran through the fixture that we have this weekend. Let's begin with the FKF Premier League. So Sofapaka will be facing Homeboys. Talanta take on Kariobangi Sharks. Shabana host Nairobi City Stars. Tusker will be facing Bandari. Gor Mahia take on Muranga Seal. Mathare United in action against KCB. Ulinzi Stars face FC. Bidco United host take on Mara Sugar, and Kenya Police will be facing Posta arranges. That is FKF Premier League. Let's move on to the English Premier League, and that is where we have Newcastle versus Arsenal, Bournemouth at host Man City, Ipswich take on Leicester, Liverpool face Brighton, Nottingham Forest take on West Ham, Southampton in action against Everton, Wolves will be facing Palace, Spurs host Aston Villa, Manchester United clash with Chelsea, and Fulham on Monday will be taking on Brentford. Now that is the Premier League. Let's move away from Premier League. We get into the Bundesliga. Bayern versus Union Berlin tomorrow, Frankfurt versus Bochum, Hoffenheim versus St. Pauli, Holstein Kiel will be taking on Heidenheim, Wolfsburg will be facing Augsburg, Dortmund in action against Leipzig, Freiburg take on Mainz, and Gladbach at home taking on Werder Bremen. That is in Bundesliga. We go to Serie A. That is where Spanish La Liga, Osasuna will be facing Valladolid, Girona take on Leganés, Atletico Madrid will be facing Las Palmas, Barcelona host Espanyol, Sevilla in action against Sociedad, Bilbao take on Betis, and Celta Vigo versus Getafe. And finally, Serie A, where we have matches tomorrow. Bologna will be taking on Lecce, Udinese will be in action against Juventus, Monza take on AC Milan, Napoli versus Atalanta, Torino versus Fiorentina, Verona will be hosting Roma, Inter take on Venezia, Empoli will be facing Como, and then Parma take on Genoa, and Lazio against Cagliari on Monday. Those are the fixtures that we have for this weekend. And of course, Cedric Musumba, couple of matches, 2 matches that you're looking forward to.
One is Napoli versus Atlanta, and then you come back to EPL, whereby Arsenal will try to grind some points away from home at
Newcastle. Yes, very, very interesting. You're not looking forward to Shabana hosting City Stars?
The local affair actually I've just detached myself from the local, given the essence of what the result we are getting out of it.
And Kenya, of course, is playing.
Kenya is playing, but I've detached myself. I'm no longer even following up what is happening in that arena, given that we can lose and drop some points at Southern Sudan here, who has not amassed whatever that is needed in that particular.
Thank you very much, Cedric Musumba, for your insights on the football sleep, the fixtures that we have on the cards this weekend. Thanks a lot, Hassan Juma, Roger Sishtemi, Caleb, of course, Kibeta, and Daniel Kariuki for your insights over this weekend. And of course, I can see, yes, that is what you do best, because you cannot place bets. And that is where we wrap up the football sleep tonight. My name is Robinson Okenye. Enjoy your night.